Good day and welcome to Module 2, which is all about strategies in teaching mathematics. And we will be dealing with discussions regarding related concepts on the strategies in teaching math. But first, we're going to consider some basic concepts related to strategies and principles, and I'll be referring to the underlying principles and strategies, especially for the principles of learning by Horn and Pine 1990, taken from the book of Corpus and Salandanan, entitled Principles of Teaching 1. The first one is learning is an experience which occurs inside the learner and is activated by the learner. So basically, learning occurs not because of the outer environment or the external environment. Learning starts from within. If we are not motivated to learn, it will be very hard on the part of the extrinsic variables. For example, yung sinasabi nating mga external environment, mahirap i mahirap pilitin ang isang learner na matuto kung intrinsically ay hindi siya motivated. That's why it was considered as an experience that is activated by the learner and of course um, from the learner himself. Number two, no one directly teaches anyone anything of significance. So most of the time, sabi nga dito, we wanted to learn yung mga bagay na gusto nating matutunan. We wanted to see kung ano yung gusto nating tingnan. So technically, it is always our option. That's why in the different strategies and approaches, there is a thing na tinatawag nating student-centered approach. From time to time, we are considering the learner. Kapag magtuturo na kayo, we are considering the learner all the time because what we teach will be useless if hindi naman siya magagamit ng learner. So basically, the consideration is titingnan natin siya in the perspective of the learner. So, kung wala kang personal involvement doon, kumbaga ikaw sa sarili mo, parang ayaw mo din naman siyang matutunan. So, para magiging meaningless din yun. That's why, when it comes to mathematics, one of the most important things that a teacher should consider, especially when starting a class, is to make sure that everyone is motivated to learn mathematics. Sometimes it's very hard to transform those motivations kasi most of the time hindi talaga sila motivated, especially when you teach it in high school. You will meet students na talagang ayaw talaga nilang matuto. So, it's very hard. But as a teacher, it's our passion, it's our calling, it's our profession. Doon pumapasok yung role natin to um, engage our learners, na sikapin natin na ma-motivate yung mga learners, yung mga students natin matutunan yung subject na ating tinuturo, which in this case is mathematics. Though these principles are general in nature, we will try to incorporate it in mathematics as our field of discipline. Next, learning is the discovery of the personal meaning and relevance of ideas. Um, Learning occurs if one uh, found meaning or personal meaning na nare-relate niya sa sarili niya at nakikita niya yung relevance ng kanyang pinapag-aralan, doon nag-occur yung sinasabi nating learning. So kung hindi nakikitaan ng bata ng importansya yung ating tinuturo, it will be very hard on the part of the learner. That's why it is considered as a principle of learning that in teaching the students, we need to consider things na kagaya nito. So, in this case, one of our major considerations is um, to look at the relevance of the things that we are teaching, to look at the perspective of the students na meron ba itong uh, personal meaning sa akin. So, hitting those inner concepts. So, titingnan talaga natin yung parts na ito in order for us to teach the students the meaning and the importance of the subject that we are teaching. It's hard for us, especially mathematics teachers, but um, giving meaning and relevance of the topics that we are teaching will make our students appreciate the subject uh, even more. Learning or the behavioral change is a consequence of experience. So, as you can see, when we try, for example, sa case natin, kapag tayo ay um, tinatry nating matuto ng isang bagay, most of the time it is a result or a consequence of experience. So, doon pumapasok yung ating sense of responsibility sa kung ano yung ating inaaral. So, we become independent um, because of the experiences that we gain. Doon pumapasok yung learning na sinasabi natin. Nagkakaroon tayo, di ba, pag may mga experiences tayo. Okay, may mga nangyayari sa ating buhay, di ba? Doon pumapasok yung ating sinasabi nating ang quote, ang ginagamit niya natin doon ay learning experience. Because of those experiences, because of those incidents in life, because of the examples that you're going to provide to your students, because of the learning experiences that or the experiences that you're going to give to your students in the teaching and learning process. So magkakaroon sila ng learning. So those experiences, that's why most when we teach the experiences that we provide should encourage our learners to think critically, to be problem solvers in order for them to have or to gain what we call learning. Next one is learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. That's why we always consider when we do plans or instructional plans or learning plans, um, we always incorporate the concept of cooperative learning. So we provide in the succeeding lesson, you will see cooperative learning structures. There are several kinds of activities provided, or you have various options or several options na pagpipilian kung ano yung klase ng activity that you're going to provide because napaka-importante ng role ng cooperative learning sa teaching and learning process. 'Di ba kapag may kasama tayo, kung ikaw ang nagre-review, though we have various learning styles, no? But most of the time, may mga bagay kang nakakaligtaan and if other people nakasama mo ay nagre-review for example or nag-aaral na ng the same concept, dun mo nare-realize na, mayroon pala akong hindi natutunan, mayroon pala akong hindi naadaanan, or hindi ko alam yun Oo nga no, mga ganun. Nagkakaroon tayo ng mga ganong mga instances or experiences kasi nga, mas maganda yung learning, mas marami ang ating natututunan kapag it is a collaborative work or a cooperative process. That's how important cooperative learning is. It is also believed that according to uh, the proponents that learning is an evolutionary process. So um, when we say evolutionary process, parang hindi siya basta-basta agad-agad na parang gusto mong kagaya sa pag-learn ng isang bagay, hindi siya mabilisan. Just like driving, for example. Driving, you cannot drive right away. So, it takes time, it takes process, just like an evolutionary process. Kaya nga sinabing process step by step, one at a time, it takes time, it takes patience. That's why if you're going to become a teacher someday, you'll become licensed professional teachers and you're going to teach math. At some point in time, may stress ka kasi parang ang dami mo nang itinuro pero bakit parang walang natututunan yung mga students mo. Darating ka talaga sa point na ganun. But you should always remember that learning takes time. So, kung kahit konting improvement sa mga estudyante, malaking bagay na yun. Uh, do not expect too much from the beginning. Kaya nga sinasabi natin evolutionary. From time to time, or one at a time, merong learning na magiging yung estudyante doon sa inyong ituturo. That's why it's called evolutionary process. Next, learning is sometimes a painful process. Uh, I know that all of us have our own or individual experiences, and most of the time we learn uh, things in a painful way or in a painful process. So, may mga instances na parang darating sa teaching and learning process that they need to pass through those stages, those painful stages in order for them to learn. Hindi lahat ay madali. Kaya nga sinasabi natin na ang hirap-hirap naman kuno ng ganitong subject. Wala namang subject na madali. Lahat ay may level of difficulty. So, yun yung ating dapat i-instill sa mind ng ating students na hindi lahat ay nakukuha ng madalian. So, there's a process, may mga kailangang i-take na mga exams, may mga kailangang bagay na matutunan before you can go higher or bago mo malelearn yung iba pang mga bagay. So, sometimes you need to go a painful process. Sometimes, when you do problem solving, you fail. Kahit ilang solve mo na, hindi mo nakukuha yung tamang sagot o kaya ay mali yung solutions. It's part of the process. Sabi nga sa isang popular quote, kung ikaw ay nag-start agad as an expert, then there will be no room for improvement. So, hindi na kailangan mag-aral kasi matalino ka na eh. So, hindi mo na kailangan mag-aral pa. So, lahat tayo dumadaan sa mga ganong proseso at yung mga tao na yun na nakakapag-reach ng mga matataas na milestone sa kanilang buhay, they pass through a painful process sa pag-aaral nila bago nila na-reach ang ganitong level. Lahat yan ay nag-aaral ng gabi. So, nagsusumikap mag-aral, mga ganong mga stages. So, it's not an easy task. Learning is a painful process and dapat i-instill natin yun sa mind ng mga estudyante natin at tayo din mismo bilang teacher dapat naka-instill din yan sa mind natin. Also, one of the richest resources for learning is the learner himself. That's why we need to give them the chance to explain, the chance to share their ideas. We are no longer in an era that the teacher is the sole source of knowledge. So ngayon, minsan mas marami pang learning or mas marami pang mga knowledge na meron ng estudyante sometimes when it comes to technology. For example, you're going to incorporate the technology in your mathematics class. Uh, may mga instances that students are more knowledgeable than us. And it's just a matter of facilitating the teaching and learning process para maipalabas mo yung best mula sa kanila. There will be some students na mahiyain, there will be some students na hesitant sila to share their ideas. So gradually, involve them in the, kagaya ng sinabi kanina, involve them in the cooperative learning processes, in the collaborative learning processes, para mailabas nila yung kanilang skills. In the next lesson, you will see cooperative learning structures, yung sinasabi ko kanina. And it's one way of inculcating to the learners that they have their own specialties, they have their own skills, and they have a very important role to play in a group, and that makes them important. And once they realize that, na sila pala ay importante, na sila pala ay may nai-contribute, so ma-appreciate niya across subjects yun. It's not just mathematics, but of course across subjects. Next, the process of learning is emotional as well as intellectual. That's why mayroon tayong tinatawag na psychological learning environment na hindi pwedeng mag-start ka ng klase kung hindi psychologically ready or emotionally ready yung mga students. Hindi ka pwedeng pagpasok mo ganito agad ang yung gagawin, klase ka kaagad. That's why when you enter a class, ask your students some questions like, how are you? Good morning. How's your sleep? O how's the other class? O kamusta naman yung inyong pag-aaral? Ganito, ganyan. Do not go directly to the lesson. There should be some point of conditioning para naman ma-set up yung mind nila na okay, magkaklase na kami. Parang ganun, not automatically go to the, okay, get one fourth, oh, get one fourth, get one whole. So, the subject becomes something that is become the cause of trauma for the students. Iisipin na lang nila pag laging papasok ka, ay, siyempre mag-quiz na naman, ganito, ganyan. So you need to change that, you need to be diverse in dealing with students, use diverse strategies, consider always the emotional aspect of the learner, teaching them knowledge is important, but we should not also forget that attitude and emotional aspects of the teaching and learning process is also vital in the holistic development of the learner. And the last one is the process of problem solving and learning is highly unique and individual. Each of us has our own learning style. Just like for us, we have a diverse teaching styles. One teaching style might not be the same doon sa teaching style ng isa pang teacher. So the same is true with learning style. Yung mga students natin, hindi yan pare-parehas ang style ng pagkatuto. So that's why you need to use diverse strategy. That's why here, we're just in part 1. I chopped the whole class into 4 parts ng strategies. We will be discussing series of strategies that you could use and incorporate in your lessons later on. So those are just some of the principles or the key principles that have been taken to be of great importance according to Corpus and Salandanan in Principles of Teaching 1 that has been taken from Horn and Pine in 1990. So I hope you learn a lot in this short discussion and have a great day.